this is what happened? Sun Er's group was stunned as they looked at Xiao Yan, or perhaps it would be better to say the illusory figure wrapping around the surface of his body. Why did this legendary purifying demonic Lotus Saint appear on Xiao Yan's body? It's related to that ancient map. Yao Lao frowned before he suddenly recalled something. That ancient map was the only relationship between Xiao Yan and the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. Xiao Yan had gathered that thing for many years and had finally obtained all of them, but he had only gained some secret information that was not really a secret. However, Yao Lao had clearly remembered that a light had shot into Xiao Yan's head after the ancient map had been gathered. That light might be the thing causing this situation to occur in Xiao Yan. What should we do? Sun Er asked a little anxiously. No one knew whether this purifying demonic Lotus Saint was good or bad, but he was possessing Xiao Yan's body at this moment. If something unexpected happened, the one who would suffer the most would undoubtedly be Xiao Yan. Don't panic. Since he has intervened to rescue all of us, he likely does not have any ill intentions. His aim should be the purifying demonic lotus flame. The ancestor from the Pill Tower remarked in a deep voice. This brat, how did he attract the purifying demonic Lotus Saint? This purifying demonic Lotus Saint does not appear to be in a spiritual form. Instead, it is more like a remnant imprint, but just this remnant imprint actually possesses such a mighty strength. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint really lives up to his reputation. Old man Hun Mo's and everyone's eyes locked on Xiao Yan as this thought continued to appear in their hearts. Xiao Yan, who had been possessed by the purifying demonic Lotus Saint, slowly lifted his head while everyone was dealing with different thoughts. He waved his sleeve, and the cream-white circular barrier slowly disappeared. A pair of white eyes looked at the purifying demonic lotus flame in the sky. Purifying demonic Lotus Saint? How is this possible? How can you still be alive? That purifying demonic lotus flame in the sky quickly focused on Xiao Yan the moment the light barrier scattered. His heart formed a great storm when he saw who that figure belonged to on the surface of Xiao Yan's body. A shocked roar filled with disbelief reverberated across the sky. It seems that you have yet to calm the violence within your heart after being sealed for thousands of years. Bastard, purifying demonic Lotus Saint, you ungrateful bastard. Would you have been able to attain your achievements without me? I have aided you so much, but you ended up sealing me in the end. Haha, you deserve to be killed by the backlash. The purifying demonic lotus flame looked at Xiao Yan with a ferocious expression as he crazily laughed. It seemed like he wanted to pour all of the monstrous hatred in his heart out. I am responsible for you becoming this brutal. The destructive force of the demonic flame is far too great. If you are allowed to leave as you please, the world would end up facing a great disaster. Xiao Yan slowly shook his head as he replied, "Imph, a mere remnant image dares to act arrogantly in front of me. Do you really think that you are still that all-powerful purifying demonic Lotus Saint?" The purifying demonic lotus flame glared at Xiao Yan with all the hatred he felt. The seal formed by his hands suddenly changed, and those two incomparably huge fire arrays began to rotate. This array was personally placed by you back then. Today, I will let you have a taste of its might. Refine. The purifying demonic lotus flame furiously cried out after his words sounded. Two light pillars filled with a destructive force formed as one shot from the sky formation and one from the earth formation, after which they had been aimed at where Xiao Yan and closed in on him with lightning-like speed. Everyone's expressions changed after seeing the purifying demonic lotus flame unleash the might of the formation again. If that light pillar struck them, it was likely that less than 5 would end up surviving. Swoosh! Those two light pillars heading toward the group suddenly came to a halt after this calm voice sounded. The light pillars paused around 50 feet, both in above and below everyone. That destructive force radiating from it caused everyone's skin to turn somewhat numb. The refining sky ancient formation was created by me. You are no match for me in terms of understanding it. A faint smile rose on Xiao Yan's face. He looked at the ugly expressions of the purifying demonic lotus flame as he softly spoke. Bastard! The purifying demonic lotus flame involuntarily cursed upon seeing the pillars stop. However, his curse had only just sounded when his expression changed. He had discovered that his control over the formation was gradually disappearing. Rumble! The two huge fire arrays present trembled at this moment. Finally, layer after layer of cream-white flames suddenly shot out of the formation and entered the body of the purifying demonic lotus flame. After these flames entered his body, the purifying demonic lotus flame began to lose control of the refining sky ancient formation. Purifying demonic Lotus Saint, I will fight it out with you. The eyes of the purifying demonic lotus flame quickly turned blood red after losing control over the formation. He was aware of the frightening strength this formation possessed. If the purifying demonic Lotus Saint were to gain control of it, he would end up having difficulty escaping the seal again. He had already lived a couple thousand years in such a bitter fashion and had already become incomparably tired of it. Demonic flame world destruction. The body of the purifying demonic lotus flame rapidly swelled. Finally, it emitted a bang and transformed into a monstrous flame that spread. The energy present within this space was vaporized by the extremely high temperature in an instant. Ah! A Ban Sheng emitted a miserable screech after the strength within the purifying demonic lotus flame's body erupted. The Do Chi within his body began to burn as his meridians became distorted. Bang! Soon after this, Ban Sheng let out a miserable screech. His body erupted into a cluster of black ashes, which drifted into the sea of magma below. Everyone around felt their limbs turn cold because of these ashes. The energy in the realm had been vaporized by the purifying demonic lotus flame. If they continued to remain, they would not be able to replenish the energy within their bodies. They would only end up with one final fate, being incinerated to death. Even Ziyin was not confident that she could rely on her Do Chi to resist the terrifying temperature of the purifying demonic lotus flame. Hence, one needed to quickly leave this damn realm if one wished to live. Chi, hurry up and leave. No one will be able to live if the purifying demonic lotus flame really explodes. Everyone felt a wild joy in their hearts after hearing the indifferent words that came from Xiao Yan. Some did not even give the matter any thought as they immediately moved and rushed to the spatial tunnel. Young miss, we should also hurry up and leave. Gu Nanhai faced Sun Er and spoke. This realm was far too dangerous. No one had expected the purifying demonic lotus flame to be this terrifying. But Xiao Yan Gigi, Sun Er knit her brows. Her eyes locked onto Xiao Yan, but Xiao Yan seemed to have been possessed by the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. Who could guarantee that the purifying demonic Lotus Saint would not do anything to Xiao Yan if she simply left? We should leave first. It is pointless to be worried. We will not help Xiao Yan by staying here. That purifying demonic Lotus Saint has borrowed his body to appear. It is likely that he will not harm Xiao Yan. Yao Lao mused for a moment before clenching his teeth and stating in a deep voice. Sun Er gently bit her lower red lip with her teeth after hearing this statement. Her eyes revealed her hesitation. She was really worried to leave Xiao Yan alone in this lifeless realm. Moreover, the ferocious purifying demonic lotus flame present. The cream-white flame in the sky continued to widen while everyone was hesitating. In the end, a pink color gradually began to appear in the middle of the flame. These pink flames slowly gathered before a bright pinkish-red demonic fire lotus appeared in the sky and slowly rotated. Even an expert like Gu Nanhai became a flushed red after this bright red fire lotus appeared. The do qi within their bodies felt like it was boiling, as though it was about to ignite. Let's go. It was impossible to continue delaying any longer at this moment. Gu Nanhai grabbed Sun Er's hand. His body flashed as he rushed toward the spatial tunnel. Behind them, Yao Lao once again glanced at Xiao Yan, who was standing with his hands behind him, but he could only clench his teeth and swiftly follow. An unknown feeling rose within Sun Er's heart when she saw Xiao Yan grow distant in her eyes. She felt that Xiao Yan needed her. Elder, once you return, please tell father that Sun Er will be willful this one time. Sun Er bit her lower lip. Her hand suddenly shook as she escaped Gu Nanhai's grasp. Her palm pressed against the Gu Nanhai's back as a gentle force sent him into the spatial tunnel. This unexpected change had clearly exceeded Gu Nanhai's expectations. Hence, he didn't have time to react. He simply entered the spatial tunnel and disappeared. You ugh, take good care of Xiao Yan. We will wait for the both of you to come out. Yao Lao, who was behind, widened his mouth upon seeing Sun Er remain. He could only bitterly smile and let out a quiet sigh. His body moved and entered the spatial tunnel. He was quite confident in Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan had experienced all sorts of difficulties during these years. This time around, he would definitely successfully escape. The spatial tunnel finally disappeared after Yao Lao rushed into it. Sun Er turned around. Her pretty eyes were grave as she looked at the figure standing with his hands behind his back. Golden flames slowly swept out of her body. Xiao Yan Ji, this time around, Sun Er will accompany you. Every part of this vast realm had filled with cream-white demonic flames. An indescribably high temperature filled this magma world. Even an elite Dosheng, who had reached the 4th star or even 5th star, would not be able to remain for long because the temperature present could even incinerate do qi. Sun Er floated in the sky as a golden flame continued to surge from her body. Even though the Gold Emperor incinerating heavenly flame was guarding her, she was still drenched in perspiration. Fortunately, the do qi within her body did not show signs of combusting. There was a reason the Gold Emperor incinerating heavenly flame had obtained such a high rank. Sun Er's eyes roamed the distant sky before finding the origin point of this sea of flames. A fire lotus with a demonic aura was slowly rotating at that spot. Each time it rotated, its color would flicker between dark red and white. Buzz. The rotating fire lotus finally returned to a white, but its petals were covered with tiny red veins. At a glance, they appeared just like the blood vessels of a person. Occasionally, a red light flashed, causing this beautiful fire lotus to be filled with a demonic aura. When I first met you back then, your body was as pure as a baby. I brought you intelligence, allowing you to possess the thoughts of a human. However, the path you have taken is opposite from what I had intended. That illusory figure outside of Xiao Yan's body softly sighed as he studied the fire lotus, which was filled with a demonic aura. Purifying demonic Lotus Saint, it is up to me how I wish to grow. You are meddling too much. Light was emitted from the demonic lotus body as the purifying demonic lotus flame furiously roared. I only wish that you will avoid self-destructing. I am the one who has caused you to fill with this hatred, so allow me to finally end everything. The illusory figure observed the fire lotus as his hand seal changed. The two large arrays that covered this realm suddenly rushed forward, one up and one down. Soon after they moved, a huge fire curtain shot out and swiftly formed a square prison, which sealed the demonic lotus inside. I will remove the intelligence and memories that I have bestowed upon you. In the future, you will be as pure as when I had discovered you back then. Purifying demonic Lotus Saint, you heartless bastard. I will not allow you to do as you please. A furious roar was once again emitted from the demonic lotus before it began rotating at a rapid speed. Waves of unusually terrifying blood-colored flames shot out of the demonic lotus. The fire curtain formed by the array suddenly became distorted because of these strange blood-colored flames. I had thought of removing your memories when I had reached my limits back then, but I was unable to remove them. This was why I sealed you here. I was hoping to resolve your brutalness and murderous nature. Looking at it now, the thousands of years of being sealed has caused your hatred to become even more intense. Since this is the case, the purifying demonic Lotus Saint looked at the wildly struggling purifying demonic lotus flame and softly sighed. His hand seal changed, and the massive formation suddenly began to collapse from its outer edges. Following the collapse of the outer parts of the formation, the fire pillar that had locked onto the purifying demonic lotus flame became more solid. Bang, bang, bang. The purifying demonic lotus flame wildly attacked the fire curtain as the formation rotated. That earth-shaking sounds of the collision caused the golden flame on the surface of Sun Er's body to become a little dimmer. Refining sky ancient formation. Remove. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint's illusory hand was gently waved, and one could see the fire curtain shot out many flame lines. These lines formed a fire web that was imprinted on the demonic lotus, after which the fire web was slowly lifted as wisps of a blood-colored fog were pushed out of the body of the demonic lotus. Ah! A miserable screech was quickly emitted from the demonic lotus after this blood-colored fog appeared. The demonic lotus wildly rotated, but no matter what kind of powerful energy it unleashed, it was unable to break the fire curtain created from that formation. The energy that the refining sky ancient formation has absorbed for thousands of years has been completely unleashed this time around. You will not be able to block it. Little demon, leave with me. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint controlled the fire lines and forced out the blood-colored fog, which represented the memories and intelligence of the purifying demonic lotus flame, a little at a time. A soft sound was emitted during the process. Nonsense, without memories and intelligence, the purifying demonic flame will no longer have its own consciousness in the future. What is the difference between this and killing me? You said that you would not take my life, but taking my memories and intelligence means that you intend to kill me, you hypocrite. The purifying demonic lotus flame's heart started to panic as he sensed his mind gradually become blank. He roared out loud. Once his memories and intelligence were completely removed, he would be considered dead. You are incomparably violent and have also obtained my inheritance. If you are allowed to break the seal, a great disaster will befall the world. This disaster was started by me. Naturally, it will have to be averted by me. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint's illusory figure shook his head. He ceased saying anything more. His hand seal changed, and the many lines of fire within the fire curtain suddenly surrounded the demonic lotus. Ah! Wave after wave of a dense blood fog swiftly surged out of the demonic lotus. The blood fog swiftly formed a blood figure in the air above the demonic lotus. This blood figure was the same human figure that the purifying demonic lotus flame had appeared as before. The blood figure of the purifying demonic lotus flame tried to lower itself in an attempt to enter the demonic lotus after being forced out of its body. However, the purifying demonic Lotus Saint did not give it such an opportunity. He clenched his hand, and the fire curtain rapidly shrank. The four lines transformed into a 10-foot large fire prison. Master, master, please let me go this time around. I will definitely change in the future. The purifying demonic lotus flame struggled, but the demonic lotus was not able to break out of the fire prison. He began to feel afraid. Having left his body, his strength had diminished to less than 10% of what it had been. It was unable to fight the purifying demonic Lotus Saint now. So he knelt down and begged for mercy from the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. The illusory figure formed by the purifying demonic Lotus Saint sighed when the purifying demonic Lotus Flame started to beg for mercy. He waved his sleeves and the illusory figure left Xiao Yan's body. The figure drifted into the fire prison and landed in front of the purifying demonic Lotus Flame. Xiao Yan GG. Sun Er hurriedly flew over and grabbed Xiao Yan after the purifying demonic Lotus Saint had left Xiao Yan's body. Why have you not left? Xiao Yan was not unconscious. His soul had been suppressed by the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. He involuntarily but softly chided Sun Er after escaping. He had watched this girl Sengun Nan high flying and remain behind. Sun Er rejoiced in her heart after she made sure that Xiao Yan was fine. She wasn't worried about Xiao Yan's chiding. Her hand tightly grabbed his arm before her eyes landed on the fire curtain. Xiao Yan felt helpless once she grabbed him, but his large hand wrapped around Sun Er's delicate and smooth hand. Little demon, I do not hate you. Even though you retaliated against me back then, I still do not hate you. I have never had any disciples or any children in my life. Since the beginning, you have been the one closest to me. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint's hand gently rubbed the purifying demonic Lotus Flame's head. His somewhat illusory face revealed a warm smile. However, I hate you. The purifying demonic Lotus Flame suddenly lifted his head. His blood-red eyes glared at the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. A bloody fog suddenly erupted and wrapped around the purifying demonic Lotus Saint. The bloody fog crazily eroded the purifying demonic Lotus Saint's body. Xiao Yan and Sun Er revealed startled faces as they watched this occur from outside the prison. This purifying demonic Lotus Flame was far too violent. This appearance is just like back then. A faint, tragic appearance overcame the purifying demonic Lotus Saint's face as he felt the erosion of the purifying demonic Lotus Flame. He softly sighed as he slowly reached out with his hand. Together, we will disappear from this world forever. The enormous fire arrays suddenly collapsed after the purifying Lotus Demon Saint emitted this statement. Finally, they turned into two extremely bright lights that shot out and ruthlessly struck the fire curtain. Bang! Xiao Yan grabbed Sun Er's delicate waist and extended his wings behind him upon sensing the explosion that could destroy the world. After which, he hurriedly pulled back. The storm swept over the realm. 100,000-foot-large crack appeared in the sea of magma. Such an enormous crack was something that the magma present could not fill. The sky was completely empty. Only after the wild and violent energy storm disappeared did Xiao Yan and Sun Er finally appear. They exchanged glances with each other before they quickly rushed to the center of the explosion. Light flickered in the sky as Xiao Yan and Sun Er paused their bodies. They searched the empty area. The purifying demonic Lotus Saint and the purifying demonic Lotus Flame had completely disappeared. It was as though they had vanished amid that earth-shaking collision earlier. Where is the demonic flame essence? Xiao Yan muttered as he looked at the empty sky. Could the purifying demonic Lotus Flame have been destroyed in that explosion? If that was the case, would it not mean that this fight for the purifying demonic Lotus Flame was a waste? Damn it! Xiao Yan cursed with dissatisfaction. He had collected the ancient maps for over a decade because of this purifying demonic Lotus Flame. After which, he had waited for 3 years. Was really possible that he had ended with this result? Xiao Yan GG, look. While Xiao Yan was filled with dissatisfaction in his heart, Sun Er suddenly pointed her finger at the magma sea region below and joyously cried out. Xiao Yan's eyes scanned the direction she had pointed in. His heart seemed to have been pinched. There was a white lotus covered with pink veins as an endless sea of magma slowly swimming around. It seemed as the energy of the entire magma sea was surging toward it. Demon flame essence. Xiao Yan's body involuntarily shook from excitement as he stared at the cream-white lotus with its faint pink color.